words barely escaped Jessica's lips. You're okay." Maya's voice trembled, a mix of fear and shock. "When he took Chris," she said, her breath shaky. "I hid inside the closet in the other room. I was so scared. I waited until the noise stopped, then I came down." Jessica let out a breath of relief. At least one of her friends was still alive. But that moment of calm didn't last long. The killer moved in the window above. He lifted the chainsaw with one hand and pointed it at them. "We gotta go." Jessica snapped out of it. She ran toward Liam, who was trying to drag himself across the floor. "We have to lift him." Maya rushed to the other side. Each grabbed one of his arms and tried to pull him up. Liam screamed in pain. His leg was badly broken. Moving him was almost impossible. "We can't, he's too heavy," Jessica said, her voice cracking with despair. "He's coming down. Do you hear that?" Maya's voice was filled with panic. Jessica listened. From inside the cabin, the killer's footsteps echoed again, slow, steady, descending the stairs. Liam looked up at her, his eyes filled with tears and pain. "She's right, Go. Just don't let him take me alive." It was an impossible choice. At that very moment, the killer appeared at the cabin's doorway, now ripped open by a massive hole from the chainsaw. The saw was silent in his hand, yet his presence alone was enough. Step by step, he started walking toward them. Maya grabbed Jessica's hand. "Now, Jessica, run." Jessica looked into Liam's pleading eyes one last time. "I'm sorry." Then she turned and ran full speed, with Maya beside her, into the darkness of the woods. Behind them, Liam's groans mixed with the sudden roar of the chainsaw, and then one final scream, sharp and horrific, before silence swallowed it all. Now only two of them remained. Two girls, lost in an endless forest, hunted by a merciless monster. They ran, not knowing where they were going, only desperate to stay alive for one more second. They kept running, without a single pause. Behind them, the growl of the chainsaw had faded into silence, and somehow, that silence felt even worse. Jessica couldn't keep going anymore. Her injured ankle throbbed, and her lungs burned from the cold air and the running. She dropped behind a large moss-covered rock, falling to the ground. I just can't anymore." Maya stopped beside her. She was breathing hard too, but her eyes were still sharp. She looked around, scanning the woods as if she were trying to map a new escape route. "Just a few minutes," she whispered. "We can't stay here long." They crouched in silence behind the rock, listening to the sounds of the forest, the wind, an owl calling somewhere far away, the pounding of their own hearts. Every second, they expected that dark figure to step out from between the trees. "Why?" Jessica finally asked, her voice barely more than a breath. "Why is he doing this to us?" Maya shook her head. "I don't know. He's insane. There doesn't need to be a reason." "That word, the joke," Jessica said quietly. "It has to mean something. Did we do something?" Maya met her eyes. "We came here for a vacation, Jess. That's all. This isn't our fault." Her tone was steady, certain, and for a moment, Jessica felt calmer. Maya was right. They were victims. There was no reason to look for one. Then, from far away, came a faint but familiar sound, the low rumble of an engine. They looked at each other in shock. The killer had found the Jeep. He'd fixed the battery. Now he was driving through the forest, hunting them with their own way out. Headlights flickered between the trees, getting closer. "We need to get off the road," Maya said, her voice urgent. "Somewhere the car can't reach." They pushed themselves up again and ran deeper into the woods, toward rougher, rockier ground. The sound of the jeep grew louder behind them. They climbed to the top of a small, stony hill. Below it, a shallow river flowed over rocks, glinting faintly in the dark. "We'll cross the river," Maya shouted. "The water will wash away our tracks." They ran down the hill and stepped into the freezing water. The cold bit straight through their legs, but they kept going. At the top of the hill, the jeep stopped. Its headlights beamed down, catching them in the middle of the river, exposed and helpless, frozen in the glare of their hunter's light. The driver's door opened. The killer stepped out. No chainsaw this time, just a shotgun in his hands. He raised it, aimed. Jessica and Maya froze. There was nowhere to run. This was the end. But he didn't fire. Slowly, he lowered the gun. He stared at them for a long second. Then he turned, got back into the jeep, and drove off, leaving them standing in the icy water, alone in the dark. They walked for hours through the dark forest. Just when Jessica felt she couldn't go any farther, she saw a light flickering between the trees. It came from the window of a small cabin. With the last bit of strength they had, they ran toward it. Jessica pounded on the wooden door. "Help, please. Someone help us." After a few seconds, the door creaked open. An older man with graying hair and a tired face appeared in the doorway. He held a shotgun in his hands. "Who are you?" he asked, wary. Jessica rushed through the story. The first cabin, their friends, the masked killer. The man listened carefully. "Come in," he finally said, stepping aside. They entered the warm cabin with gratitude. The man handed them blankets. "I'm Raymond. I'm a hunter," he said, concern etched on his face. "You've gotten yourselves into a serious problem. What you're describing, it sounds like the old legends of this forest." For the first time in hours, Jessica felt a glimmer of hope. They had found an ally. At that moment, a dog barked outside the cabin, loud, furious, and unrelenting. "That's Hercule," Raymond said, picking up his shotgun. "My dog. He senses strangers from miles away." He moved toward the door. "There's something out there," he said quietly. Then a gunshot cracked through the night. The dog's barking stopped suddenly. Raymond slammed the door shut and locked it. Turning back to the girls, pale-faced, he whispered, trembling with anger and fear, He killed my dog. He's here." Then heavy, violent pounding rattled the door, as if someone were throwing themselves against it with all their strength. And immediately after, the familiar roar of a chainsaw erupted right outside the door. The scream of the chainsaw biting into the wood was deafening. "Stay away from the door," Raymond shouted, raising his shotgun toward it. Suddenly, the roar of the chainsaw cut off. Almost immediately, the sound of glass shattering came from the other side of the cabin. The window. Raymond spun around. The killer leapt through the broken window frame in one swift motion. Raymond fired, but the shot hit the wooden wall behind the intruder. The killer lunged at Raymond, and a violent struggle broke out between them. "Run!" Raymond yelled through the fight. "Get out the back door." Maya immediately sprinted toward the back exit, but Jessica froze. She grabbed the iron fireplace rod and charged at the killer, swinging it with all her strength into his back. Raymond took the chance and struck the killer on the head with the butt of his shotgun. The killer staggered, disoriented, and tumbled backward through the broken window, disappearing into the darkness outside. "We have to go," Maya shouted from the back door. Jessica ran to Raymond, who had fallen to the ground. "You okay?" she asked. He stabbed me," Raymond said, pointing to a shallow cut on his arm. "I'm fine." You two need to go. He's hurt, but he'll come back. He and Maya ran together toward the back door and vanished into the dark forest. They ran through the forest at full speed. Just when they felt completely drained, Maya pointed toward a dark opening in the side of a cliff. There, maybe we can hide there. It was the entrance to an old, abandoned mine, locked with rotting wooden planks. Together, they pushed the boards aside and crawled into the dark, damp tunnel. Inside, the air was cold and heavy. They moved slowly through the shadows, keeping their hands on the rough stone walls to avoid falling. Suddenly, behind them, from the entrance they had come through, the sound of falling wooden planks echoed. A tall shadow blocked the opening. The killer had found them. "This way," Maya shouted, grabbing Jessica's hand and pulling her into one of the side tunnels. The chase through the twisting mine had begun. They ran through narrow, winding corridors, the sound of the killer's footsteps echoing behind them. At a sharp turn, Jessica's foot slipped, and she fell to the ground. Maya ahead didn't notice and kept running. "Maya!" Jessica screamed, but it was too late. Maya vanished into the darkness around the next bend. Jessica was alone. She looked around in panic as the killer's footsteps drew closer. Desperately, she crawled into a narrow crevice in the wall, holding her breath. From her hiding place, she watched the killer's shadow pass slowly by, heading in the same direction Maya had gone. Seconds later, sounds of a struggle came from deep inside the tunnel. Maya's terrified scream, and then silence. Jessica's heart stopped. It was over. Maya was gone. Dead. She was the last one left. Tears streamed down her face as she realized she was trapped in this stone tomb with the killer. She stayed frozen in the crevice for a long time, paralyzed by fear. Then, a faint sound reached her ears. "Jessica." It was Maya's voice, weak and trembling. In disbelief, Jessica crawled out of her hiding place. "Maya." From the far end of the tunnel, Maya limped toward her, covered in dirt and blood. He got me." Maya gasped, struggling to breathe. "I fought back, grabbed a rock and hit him in the head. I think he ran." Jessica burst into tears and hugged her friend tightly. They were alive, both of them. Maya's bravery had saved them. "We need to get out of here," Jessica said, helping Maya to her feet, "before that psycho comes back." They carefully made their way back through the tunnels. Every sound, every drip of water from the ceiling, made them jump. Finally, they saw the faint light of the mine's entrance. Dawn was breaking, and the gray sky promised the end of this endless night. When they emerged, they took a deep breath. They were alive, exhausted, wounded, mentally shattered, but alive. And they owed that life to each other. Jessica looked at Maya, her friend, brave enough to confront the killer head-on. In that moment, she felt a bond deeper than ever. They were the only survivors, each other's only family. "We made it," Jessica said, her voice trembling. "We survived." Maya gave a weary smile. "Not yet. We need to reach a road." They started moving again. Eventually, they found a narrow asphalt road, a path back to the outside world. Overwhelmed with relief and exhaustion, they collapsed onto the pavement. For a moment, they just listened to the silence and peace of the road. Suddenly, from the end of the road, through the morning mist, a dark figure appeared. The killer, wounded, tired, but still standing. He walked slowly toward them. No hurry now. Jessica leapt to her feet in terror, pulling Maya behind her. "Stay behind me," she shouted. She scanned the ground and spotted a large, sharp rock. She picked it up. Heavy, primitive, but it was all she had. She faced the killer. No more running. That's enough. Whoever you are, this ends tonight. The killer approached slowly. His steps no longer felt threatening. He stopped in front of them, raised his hand, and removed his mask. The face beneath it, Maya's face. Jessica froze. Her mind went blank. Impossible. How? Had it all been an illusion? She looked in disbelief at the killer, and then at the friend hiding behind her. Maya? Who? Who is that? Then, the Maya standing behind her changed. The fear in her eyes vanished, replaced by a cold, victorious hatred. She calmly stepped out from behind Jessica and joined the killer. And in a voice Jessica had never heard before, she said, "That's my sister, my twin sister, Anna." Jessica stared at the two faces, identical, perfect copies of her best friend. The rock slipped from her hand. She had no strength left to fight. All this nightmare, all the running, all the struggles, it had been one merciless show. Why? It was the only word she could bring herself to speak. Why? Maya repeated, with a hatred she had kept buried for years. "Don't you really remember? That night, that phone call, that joke?" The full truth hit Jessica like a lightning bolt. 7 years earlier, in Mark's living room, for teenagers gathered around a table, empty bottles scattered across it, and their loud laughter echoed through the room. They were drunk and bored. Mark picked up the phone book. "Let's have some fun," he said, flipping the pages with a grin. He pointed blindly at a name. They dialed the number. After a few rings, a soft female voice answered. "Yes." Mark covered his mouth with his hand to disguise his voice. In a chilling tone, he began, "We're outside your house. We're watching you." The woman's voice trembled with fear. "Who are you? What do you want?" Jessica and the others laughed in the background. Mark continued, "One of your windows is open. We're coming in. We want to play with you." Fear laced the woman's breathing. "Please don't hurt me." They continued their psychological torment for a few more minutes until the woman screamed in terror and the call ended. The four friends collapsed laughing, soon forgetting the incident entirely. But across town, Anna and Maya's mother, hands shaking, grabbed her husband's shotgun from the closet. In the darkness, she waited behind the front door. Minutes later, the key turned in the lock. The door opened, and the shadow of a man appeared in the frame. The woman, panicked, pulled the trigger. The gunshot echoed through the small house. She flicked on the light and saw her husband's lifeless body on the floor. She screamed, a sound no one would hear. She couldn't live with what she had done. The gun turned on her this time, aimed at herself. Upstairs, the twin girls heard the second shot. They bolted from their room in terror, rushing down the stairs to a scene that ended their childhood in an instant. At that moment, another sound came from the forest. It was Raymond, his shotgun slung over his shoulder. He approached with calm, measured steps. Maya smiled. "And here's Uncle Raymond, the one who found you idiots and orchestrated this plan." Jessica looked at the three determined, merciless faces surrounding her. Anna stepped forward. "We didn't have to tell you all this," she said, "but we couldn't let you die without knowing." Raymond raised his shotgun, aiming at Jessica. Maya's voice was cold, emotionless. "Go, and in hell, tell your friends our story." A gunshot shattered the dawn's silence. It's all about humanity.